and justice for all.
Oh,
Well, that's a first.
There you go.
thank you, Tony.
Everybody?
I just want to remind folks as we begin, don't, in fact, I'm going to mute everybody that's not on the board. So just don't, don't blurt out in the middle of the meeting. Wait for us to, to call on you or, to recognize you to speak if it, becomes necessary. Okay.
Okay, so we all know why we're here today, right? We're all here to discuss a permit for the watercross to take place. Was it September later this month, 26th, 27th, I believe. Chris, it's my understanding that we did get some legal advice from our town attorney. If you could just brief everybody real quick.
Yep, I wrote to the board that morning with a recap. Generally, the board is within its discretion in how it enforces the various ordinances in town. What we had presented to you when the watercross folks first appeared was a few options. One of those options was to enforce the law around event licensing with the rope dancing and that goofy statute that we talked about the other night, to enforce that right away, and to enforce the zoning and site plan regulations at the conclusion of this season of watercross events, and give the applicants the winter to work with the planning board before any events next year. That was one enforcement option that we gave you. Another option was just don't let anything happen without, full site plan approval and licensing under the 284 statute. And you told staff, let's do that. Let's do the licensing and then hand it off to the planning board at the end of the season and give them the winter to do that. That is within your discretion. You, the select board, are the executive branch. You have discretion in what you enforce in the town's regulations. If you're familiar with prosecutorial discretion, it's the same school of thought. And what you have decided to do here is tell the staff how to enforce a couple different statutes and ordinances, and you're fine. You're legal.
Okay, so basically summing it up, we're legally okay, but this is more or less just a political dilemma. Does that sound right?
Yeah, you will face criticism for how you are choosing to enforce things, perhaps. But that is your discretion. And obviously generally speaking, we want to enforce everything to the letter of the law so that it remains effective. But, people in prosecutorial or enforcement roles are always making judgments about those things. It's, not every speeder gets a speeding ticket, and not every line of every town ordinance gets enforced every day. It's just not reasonable or possible. So, there's a broad spectrum of authority that you have, and you're well within it to do what you've laid out this fall with this particular event.
So I just would like to make a quick statement in regards to the letter that was sent. I certainly share the concern from the planning board, and I appreciate and thank the chairman for sending me that letter. However, receiving it the day of when we're supposed to speak about the third event, I thought that they've known this all along. They should have presented that letter prior. That being said, I think this board should do its due diligence going forward, that any particular event such as this that comes forward and we've already discussed this for the most part, needs to go in front of the planning board. So I appreciate the planning board's concerns. I'm opening it up to the other board members if they have something to say.
The planning board has a job to do this winter. From what people previously said at the last meeting about other events that are happening in town that have not been sanctioned by the planning board or under any, stipulations like this one. So I think it's something the planning board should look into themselves. And I feel confident about the select board making a decision on this third and final event for the watercross.
I agree, John. Tony?
Same here. Just as I said the other night, Steve and I'm sure Tammy have, worked to accommodate every restriction that we have asked them to encumber. And it has been a learning process for all of us.
Absolutely.
But I think so far, it's worked out well. Particularly, with with the initial lack of communication and the way so many neighbors were upset, and then the outreach that Steve and Tammy and family did to approach the neighborhood with open arms. It's clear to me that they want to make it work. They're willing to accommodate our requests. So I don't have a problem with this. I would say to Steve and Tammy to start thinking ahead to next season and engaging with the planning board to make sure that that you dot your I's and cross your T's for that upcoming season, right? And engage them much sooner than than you would think necessary, right? Give it a good 6 months lead time, to make sure that the planning board has time to do their research as well, because like we said the other night, the wheels of government turn slowly, and it's not always easy to get a quick answer. But as for now, yeah, I agree with John. I think I'm comfortable with the board making its decision tonight. The licensing authority is ours, and we can absolutely work with the planning board, as needed to smooth out this process, the town's process going forward.
Do we want to open this up for discussions for others, or are we ready to vote on this?
I think the discussion happened the other night, but
Are you, I'm guessing you're ready to vote, John?
it was the other night. Still am.
All right. How about you, Tony?
I'm ready to vote, but it may not be a bad idea to see if anyone wants to, raise their hand and say anything, Steve, Tammy, or anyone else.
Okay. So, who do you want to, you're controlling the mute button here, Tony.
Oh yeah, I do. Does anyone want to just tell me in the chat box, and I can unmute you if you want to speak? Steve, I think Reynolds, you're unmuted already. And Tammy, I can't find your name. Oh, there you are.
And unmuted myself.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, does anyone want to speak?
I mean, I'm on board with John. I think we kind of all shared our opinions the other night, and we were all pretty much on the same page with the planning. The Board of Selectmen just wanted to cover their tail and check on the legal side of things. So I pretty much said what I had to say the other night, but I'm all ears if anybody else has any other input.
If nobody has anything else to say, we can go right into voting.
Yep. All right, well, I will make a motion that the select board approve the event license for the third and final Watercross event on date.
I have it on the 25th, 26th, and 27th.
Is that correct? Tammy, Steve?
Yes.
It's
Okay.
Saturday the 26th and Sunday the 27th with the practice on Friday.
Okay. So yeah, I'll make a motion that the select board approve the event license for the final Watercross event this year on September 25, 26, and 27.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We only have 3 board members, so all in favor? I, Ben Bartlett.
Hi, Tony Dumas.
Hi, John Moore.
Okay, looks like your permit has been approved.
Hey, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Just as a quick reminder, Steve and Tammy, as Tony has already pointed it out, you probably want to get a start on next season, like tomorrow. You know, just to give the planning board plenty of time to go through whatever you got planned for next season and all that for a smooth transition.
Tammy's already on it. If you know anything about her, she was on it a month ago.
Excellent.
Thank you guys.
Okay, if anybody, if we don't have any other business or other comments, I'm ready to close out this meeting.
I just need to remind folks that you're between me, Steve, and Steve Reynolds, so you're a Steve and Steve Oreo cookie.
Thanks, Steve. I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on adjourning this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Bartlett.
Hi, Tony Dumas.
Hi, John Moore.
Okay, this is concludes our meeting. Thank you, Nottingham, and thank you everybody for participating.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.